first of all, I would say even the commodity Robusta that India has is quite good. Is better
Yeah,
than the
man.
commodity Robusta
Yeah.
that's grown in many parts of the world. So I think India has a somewhat natural advantage in that respect. And now with, focus on processing and different processing methods, people are coming up with Robustas that have, interesting and pleasant taste profiles.
Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar. This is episode 4 of our 5-part series on the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward. And we're talking with Matt from Blue Tokai in India. And Matt, in this episode, we're going to talk about commercial coffee brands versus specialty coffee brands in India compared to other markets. So give us a landscape of what it's like in India.
So I think India is still quite dominated by commercial brands, but the difference is that in India, they're positioned as premium. So like I would say right now, Starbucks is the most premium coffee brand or one of the most premium coffee brands in the minds of most Indian consumers. Even though the coffee that they serve is not really, different than the coffee we serve.
That's very diplomatic, sir. It's different.
but and I think it's mostly because of the brand. Like Indian people still ascribe a lot to international brands. So even like Costa or Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf.
Ouch.
Tim Hortons has now come.
Oh, you hurt my heart.
Pret a Manger, all of these places that are, seen as very premium in India, but would not be considered premium in kind of the home markets. And so I think that's sort of an interesting position of where the market is right now. And I think actually, I mean, for us personally, we think that's fantastic. If Starbucks and they're doing quite well, if they can grow and kind of get people drink from whatever they were drinking before to start drinking Starbucks at the price point they're charging, we can. We charge less than Starbucks, so we can offer what we argue is a superior product, and it's much easier to convert those people. So I think and also India's at a point where it's starting to have more prominence. So now all brands are thinking that India is going to be the next China. So everybody wants to come in here, and so I expect more international brands to come. On the specialty side, it's still quite fragmented. There's us. There's another brand called Third Wave, but most of the other brands are kind of only limited to one city. They cater to sort of one geographic area, and there's a lot of kind of standalone specialty shops. And what's been really encouraging to see is that over the last 5 years now, you can go to basically any city anywhere, not just the big cities, but there'll be at least a few cafes that are serving good quality coffee. So it's been really, really amazing and really encouraging to see kind of that transition happen compared to when we started to where we're at now, and just to see the sort of increase in availability and appreciation for that.
Is it similar? Like here in Australia, there's no Wi-Fi in any of the cafes. There's no outlets either. So we encourage conversation, we encourage community, we encourage people to meet each other and like come to cafes and do the cafe thing. This is a very, very well established coffee drinking culture in Australia. When I lived in America, it's like walking into a library when you go into a cafe. Everybody's on their laptop, everybody's working, that's their office. And this was way pre-COVID.
Yeah.
What's it like in India?
It's a mix of both. We do have lots of people using cafes as their office. But at the same time, India is, I would say, more of a communal society than most places. So their coffee shops are still very social places. And you'll have, like we've done surveys, and other surveys have been done where like the number one reason why people go to coffee shops is to meet friends.
Oh, so,
awesome. It's still I'd say a healthy mix. The people who end up working from the cafes are there almost every day, so that's sort of though they occupy a seat for an extended amount of time, they're very loyal and regular customers. And so we have outlets in all the cafes, and we provide Wi-Fi. We definitely don't discourage people from working out of there.
Robusta is vastly grown across India. And I'm not a hater of Robusta at all. I have been thoroughly impressed by the Robusta that I've drunk over the past 12 months in a lot of different places. But when we're looking at the difference between specialty and commercial markets, I had Starbucks coffee at WCC. Let's just pass on giving any comments about what it tastes like, but it's more expensive, you're saying, than the Blue Tokai coffee. And I had probably 3 cups from Blue Tokai in one go, and the coffee was exceptional. Are you guys selecting the coffee based on variety of? Are you selecting it on, is it just Arabica that you guys are serving? Is it how are you going about that compared to what the commercial market's doing?
So it's predominantly Arabica. We have over the last couple of years tried to launch single estate Robustas. And I think, there's a lot of work that's going into that. The coffee, first of all, I would say even the commodity Robusta that India has is quite good. It's better than the commodity Robusta that's grown in many parts of the world. So I think India has a somewhat natural advantage in that respect. And now with, focus on processing and different processing methods, people are coming up with Robustas that have, interesting and pleasant taste profiles.
Friends, World of Coffee Dubai is back in 2024, and I am proud to announce that the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward will be the official podcast partner for World of Coffee Dubai for the 2nd year in a row. The Roasters Village will be a one-of-a-kind destination for all things coffee. As an exhibitor, introduce your artisanal roasts to an international audience and gain valuable insights from their perspective. Visitors, immerse yourself in the celebratory coffee culture experience by sampling exclusive cups poured with passion from cafes worldwide, and absorb insights that will elevate your own appreciation of all things coffee. Whether you brew coffee or just love savoring a fine cup, this event gathers the global coffee community under one roof in an amazing city. Join us at World of Coffee Dubai in 2024 at Dubai World Trade Center from the 21st until the 23rd of January. Tickets are available at dubai.worldofcoffee.org, or you can contact us on social media for any questions that you might have at mapforward.coffee. Get your tickets now, folks. Come see the podcast being recorded live, and we hope to see you in January in Dubai for World of Coffee.
It hasn't yet reached the point where people are preferring that. Still, people are preferring more Robusta, Arabicas. And I think actually there's sort of an interesting kind of split that's happened in specialty in India, is that, all these new fancy processing methods have come fairly recently to India. So in the past, all natural processed coffee was called cherry. And that meant that they would just take whatever was left over from the pickings, put it out on the yard, let it dry. And that was sold at a very cheap price because it was, lower quality coffee that was being naturally processed.
Wow.
It's only been in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years that sort of paying attention to the processing of natural coffees, and then, picking ripe cherries, drying it properly on raised beds. Now there's all of these fancy fermentation, carbonic maceration and this fruit fermentation and this fruit fermentation. Those have become quite popular, but they apply, so they're interesting really only to kind of like a niche segment. The majority of people coming to our cafes are just looking for a better quality product. They don't necessarily know that it's specialty or that they don't like the flavor notes and all of that. They just know that it tastes better. And so for them, having if we serve them one of these fancy fruit fermentation coffees, they would hate
Too much.
Like they would spit it out. well, my partner, she just doesn't like those coffees. Like, it just is like that. It just doesn't appeal to her. She likes light roast washed coffees. And so I think it's an interesting kind of time that these fruit coffees have become, and basically they sell out very quickly because there's just so much pent up demand for them, but it doesn't really appeal to the majority of the coffee drinking population. So we try and have a fine line between our offering, that we have enough products that cater to the sort of the niche specialty crowd, while also having enough products that also appeal to a wider population. Because for us, the goal is to get more people drinking better quality coffee, no matter how they like to drink it. So if you like these fruit coffees, we have you covered. If you want a nice, balanced washed coffee, we also have you covered there.
And when it comes to sugary drinks, excuse me, when it comes to the sugary drinks, because in places like the UAE and in Saudi, sugary drinks are like the hallmark, and signature drinks are the hallmark. What is it like in India?
Yeah, that's also the case. So I know from other brands, something like 60% of their beverages are these, cold syrup whipped cream drinks.
Yeah.
And for a long time, we kind of resisted that. We didn't have like a Frappuccino, for example. It was only in the last year that we introduced our take on it. And we tried to do it a little bit differently by putting 3 different types of coffee in there. And we called it the Trio Chino. And that very quickly became the second bestseller on the menu. So there's definitely demand for sugary drinks. Another interesting thing is that alt milk is huge in other parts of the world. Here it's still very small. It's, I think, less than 1% of our less than 1% of our beverages are using alt milk, and we don't even upcharge. Just for a long time we haven't upcharged.
Even soy, like it's not a big thing. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that because milk is so well revered in India?
Yeah, I think, when people say India's a tea drinking culture, I say really it's a milk drinking culture.
Yeah.
Some people put tea, some people put coffee, some people put just plain milk. So I think it just hasn't, and there's not sort of that level of lactose intolerance and issues that are more prevalent in other countries. And I think because dairy is such a huge part of life here, people are happy to they're not looking for alternatives.
Yeah, wow. So we've got one episode to go, and in this episode we want to address a really important question that I never thought to ask before meeting you, Matt, and that is, why aren't any of the big coffee brands from producing countries? So folks, join us in the next episode for the last in the series, because this is definitely going to be, I don't know why we haven't asked this question before. Almost 1,000 episodes and we've never asked this question before. So join us for this one, folks. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Matt Forward on Patreon, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.